Hi everyone, welcome back. It's been a while. I'm glad you're here. Today we're going to do an in-depth analysis of the Joker. This movie for me was definitely my most anticipated of the year, considering we've seen so many superhero movies in the past 5 to 10 years that I won't go to the movie theaters to watch. When I first saw the trailer, I got very excited because Batman has always been my favorite superhero across DC and Marvel combined. His likability for me, it just felt as if we were connected in a way that I hadn't been connected with any other superhero in its past. I've seen a lot of takes from this movie. Some love it and some strongly dislike it. For the people that dislike it that I've come across, I believe that they think it was supposed to be a superhero movie, which it's not. And I don't know how you could ever see it being a superhero movie. On the grounds that you see the trailer and you know about Batman and the trilogy and what it was like from Batman Begins those days, seeing this trailer should give you no indication that this is going to be some sort of superhero movie in the slightest. I just never would have thought that it was something that was apparent from the trailers. Joaquin Pheonix, for me, in this film, did something that hasn't been done for some time. It was 2.5 hours, and I felt as if you really didn't need any other flagship actors in the movie whatsoever. Robert De Niro could have been played by anyone else. The fact that he was in it felt like it was a nod to Taxi Driver, in the sense that Robert De Niro was in it and the mental illness took such a major role in the film. The scenery, the drabness of it all, there was never much light. The colors were very neutral the entire time. It took on a sense of loneliness, and a lot of thought was put into that. I'm not so much a film critic in this sense, but it gave me the vibe of darkness and regret. It was very tasteful in what they did in that regard. Something I haven't seen many people point out is the rawness where he is with the Wall Street bankers. They're beating him down and berating him and absolutely just tearing his soul apart. It could not have been realer. He grabs his gun and just violates them on a whole nother level. The vindication he gives in his performance in that moment in time, for me, just solidified it right there. It was towards the beginning of the movie, but for me, the sound of those gunshots, the look on the man's face when he knew he was gonna die and then getting shot, and then Arthur just walking up the stairs running home, it didn't quite feel like he had much regret. And I'm not saying that he should have. I haven't seen a movie in the past 5-10 years that has really shaken up the industry like this one has. And with scenes like that, it really demonstrates something that we haven't seen for a long time, and that's the rawness of it all. Joaquin Phoenix in this movie is an absolute gem, and I knew looking at it, he's very particular with the scripts he chooses, so I knew that it would be something special. I thought this movie was perfect up until one certain point. The writers of this film, I believe, were persuaded by the heads of the studio and whatnot to change something about that last scene, and that was his speech. Throughout the entire film, you can completely understand that mental illness has a big impact on Arthur's decisions. You know that every action that Arthur takes at this point in time, or that the Joker ends up making, is due to his mental illness and the mistreatment of it. The government not funding his program anymore so he could get his medication. As a viewer, do you really think we're that dumb and that blindsided by what Arthur has been going through this entire film? The entire film is about mental illness. In my honest opinion, I can't see how anyone wouldn't see that as the main driver for his actions. Besides that, I honestly thought it was perfect. I thought maybe it could have also ended when Arthur's meeting Murray and he looks at the camera and just smiles. That is probably where the movie should have ended. It felt kind of corny for him to be standing on top of the police car, getting the praise from the absolute tyranny of the situation that was unfolding. I understand they're nodding to the other Batmans when Bruce Wayne's father and his mother are walking down the alley. The pearls are snatched off her neck as she's shot, right? Because that's a very integral scene in Bruce's life and in the past movies, right? So I definitely understand that. I was just more or less confused as to why they had to put that end scene in there. Now, a lot of people have been talking about if this should get a sequel, and I honestly don't believe it should. Now, I would love to see something like it. For me, this was absolutely incredible, and I loved every minute of it, you know? I honestly don't believe there is a reason to have a sequel. I feel like we got his entire backstory. Overall, for me, I gave this movie about an 8.5 to 9 out of 10, just because of the writing that could use some work, and Arthur's speech at the end. It really didn't make much sense to me, but it was a great film. At the end of the day, I want this to be something that we can all look forward to. Nowadays, everything just has to be so happy-go-lucky, so PC friendly, and it doesn't always need to be. Our lives aren't so peachy all the time. There's some remorse, there's some regret, there's some vengeance that sometimes we want to see. This movie may be an outlet to that. I think that people should see this and see what society could get to. And I think we all definitely feel a little crazy sometimes, and I don't necessarily think it's such a bad thing. I think this is something that everyone should go watch. My name's Hunter Gregory. This has been The Joker in Analysis. Thank you so much for watching. Welcome back. I'm glad you're here.